Next drill. By the Reverend Tom Bass, remain standing and join in the singing of our national anthem.
Let us pray. God our Father, you made the world for sane and cheerful pleasure. Show us how to live free from false restraint or the terror of aimless craving, so that we may enjoy good times together, like guiltless children who play within the safety of your love. Protect all who participate tonight, the fans, the coaches, and the players. Amen.
Good evening and welcome to Public School Stadium. It's Mom's Night as the 1-1 Sikeston Bulldogs take on the 0-3 Belleville Althoff Crusaders. Jim Green on assignment elsewhere tonight. I'm George Hale along with Ron Klutz. We'll be giving you the play-by-play and describing tonight's action. Ron, any pregame thoughts for tonight?
Well, it looks like, George, that we're going to have another rough road to hoe here with Belleville. We played them 2 years ago, and they pretty much wiped us out. It looks like they've got a pretty good-sized team from what we've seen out here early. They're 0-3, but they may be the best 0-3 team that we'll ever play here at Sikeston.
Yeah, we might comment there. They've already played 3 games, and Sikeston's entering their 3rd game tonight. Of course, Belleville being an Illinois team, they have different state regulations in what the state of Missouri does. So they will have played 1 game more than we had, and we could see what we saw Saturday, the extra week of practice, how the offense was able to come on and play a good football game at Charleston. So, you know, and now Belleville has played an additional game, and they've got that on us too. Even though they're 0-3, they do have another game experience.
Well, and of course, they play in a real tough conference up there. I think all 3 of their losses have been to St. Louis area top 10 or at least well-ranked teams in the St. Louis area. So I don't think that it's going to be any kind of a pushover tonight. As a matter of fact, we're going to have our hands full.
Yeah, I agree with what you say. I think you can discount that 0-3. They've come down here to play football, and I'm sure they've come in hopes of winning their first football game, and Sikeston will be attempting to get over 500.
Well, George, I think when we get around to playing here, looks like the officials are out here on the field and fixing to bring the captains out. We're going to do the lineups for tonight's ball game. First, for Sikeston Bulldogs on offense, we've got tight end Darrell Wasson. The tackle is number 74, Dana Carter. Strong side guard Chip Thornton. There'll be a substitution here on what you see on the thing. Center will be Ron Sells tonight, number 60. Weak side guard Tom McClarty, number 68. Weak side tackle Rob McCauley, number 66. The quarterback tonight will be Jim Laughlin. Mark Gerald's running at the halfback. Fullback will be Chris Taylor. Brian Self running at flanker, and Joe Fetch will be the split end. For Sikeston on defense, we'll have Chip Thornton, number 55, and Dana Carter, another change in your lineup for the Bulldogs, will be playing the defensive ends and tackle. Dana will be playing tackle. Nose guard will be number 68, Tom McCarty. The defensive tackle on be 64, another defensive end, Ron Sells, number 60. Linebackers will be number 32, Brian Price, and 42, Chris Taylor. Safeties, number 10, Brian Self, and 14, Greg Grant. Sean Eubanks and Chris Mooney, number 95 and number 12, respectively, will be playing the corners. For Belleville, we'll have on offense the center, number 54, Jack Brands. Left guard will be Matt Fraser, number 64. Right guard will be Mike Bauer, number 68. Left tackle will be Ken Shields, number 77. Doug Burning playing the right tackle, number 75. Left end is Kevin Gagan, number 85. The right end, Terry Reno, 84. Quarterback will be Todd Marchand, number 13. The fullback will be number 40, Dan Schaefer. This is a change in your that you're seeing on the screen. Halfback will be Tom Myatt, and Juan Cox will not be starting. They've listed 13 or 12 guys. They're only going to be playing 11, of course, on offense. The Belleville defense will be Dennis Gula, number 82 at left end. Ken Shields, number 77, the left tackle. Bill Steenus, the right tackle, number 76. Right end will be Stephen Schott, number 11. The linebackers, Pat Hayes, number 51, and a change, Jim Monken, number 14, will be playing a linebacker. The other linebackers are number 41, Jim Gomerick, and Greg Eichner. The safeties, or they're calling them halfbacks, will be Brent Kiesler, number 34, and Mike Head, number 22, and the safety, Juan Cox, number 10. So those will be our starting lineups. Looks like the Belleville has won the toss and elected to receive, and Sikeston's going to kick off going north to south tonight, George. So we're about ready to get underway.
Now Stacy Deal is entering toward the ball, and he boots it. It's a short kick, picked up by number 22 for the Crusaders, coming to the left side and swarmed under by a host of Bulldogs. Mike Head returned the ball for Belleville. So the Bulldogs will be on defense to open this football game. Belleville Crusaders on offense. Crusaders running out of a power I. Give to the tailback off left side. Pick up of a yard or two.
Looks like they're going to use a little bit of this pre-snap motion that that all the pro teams use, George, to hopefully keep the Dogs a little bit confused about how to line up on defense.
Yeah, they occasionally run an unbalanced line.
Matter of fact, they're lined up that way right now.
Yes, they are. 2nd and 9. Quarterback keeps. That's Marchand with the football, and he picks up the 1st and 10.
Looks like he gets about 10 or 12 yards there.
Pretty good play action back there. He faked to a couple of backs to the left, and he kept the ball and bootlegged it around the right end, and our cornerbacks or somebody weren't there to stop that play.
Well, I'm sure this is the first time that particularly this young Bulldog team has ever seen anybody line up in this unbalanced line. We don't see it used very often, and I'm sure that it's going to cause some confusion here early. And when you line up unbalanced and then run it back to the weak side, why I suppose that we are going to have some confusion. Looks like Belleville may have a timeout here.
Yeah, their quarterback Marchand that carried the football then had to be helped off the field. He's holding his right shoulder. Jim Monken now comes in to quarterback for the Crusaders.
Well, they won't lose anything size-wise with Monken.
Give to the back 44 up the middle. Ball carrier Chad Mueller. They're coming right at the Dogs, Ron.
Yeah, we were talking earlier tonight, wonder if they do throw the ball, and at this point they haven't had to. I don't know. In pregame practice, they can throw it. They've got a boy that can throw it about 40, 50 yards, so up to now they haven't had to. As a matter of fact, they're just running it right at the Dogs.
Out of the power I left, give to the up back, straight up the middle for a pickup of about 4 or 5, and another 1st and 10 for the Crusaders as they continue to move against the Bulldog defense.
Like they're down at about the Dogs' 42 for this 1st and 10. Well, we would hope the Dogs don't get discouraged here and get this thing figured out, because they are using an awful lot of, like I say, pre-snap motion and unbalanced lines. Here they go again into their movement.
Yeah, as you see, they do spread out, but then they come in tight. They do have a wing to this side. Straight hand off to the right halfback, off the right tackle. Another pickup of about 4. Ball's at about the Bulldog 37-yard line. 2nd and 5. Chip Thornton calling the defensive plays. Went on a quick count that time, off the tailback, off the left tackle, and another 1st and 10. Nothing too fancy, just basic stuff up the middle. They're getting some good blocking from their young offensive line, as we read in the paper. That was one of the weak points. At least the Belleville coach applied to that the offensive line was young and had not done a very good job blocking in their first 3 games. They seem to have remedied that tonight some.
They're doing a pretty good job up to this point.
Power I right, give to the tailback, off right tackle, hit hard.
He's going to lose some here, George, I think.
Dana Carter, one of the Bulldogs, in on the tackle, along with Willie Gillespie. A loss of 1. Ball right inside the Sikeston 30-yard line. Possible pass play here. As you see them come to the line in a spread formation, they go from that, give to the tailback up the middle, stacked up.
Going to get about 5 out of it. Well, I'm sure all of this motion has got to be confusing to the Dogs, and this may be their problem with the young offensive line. It may have taken 2 or 3 weeks to get all of this kind of stuff straightened up, because they sure have what appears to be a sophisticated bunch of offensive line setups.
Yeah, sometimes they go when they're spread out. They'll give straight up the middle to the fullback. Schaefer, the ball carrier, picks up the 1st and 10.
Yeah, he's going to...
No, it's a little bit short. Going to bring up a 4th and 1. Ball at the Bulldog 19.
Dogs hold them here. This could be a real defensive... Well,
Now that back up, right straight up the middle, and picked up the yard he needed, an additional 4 or 5. Ball's right inside the Bulldog 15. 7:23 remaining in the first quarter. There is no score. Belleville has taken the open kickoff and have moved it steadily down the field. Chip Thornton, the Bulldog captain, asking for a timeout.
Well, George, it looks like this reserve quarterback, if that really is the truth, they started out here with this Marchand, and he got hurt on the first play, and Monken has come in, but as we noticed on the program, they're listing both of them, so I don't really think that this may be necessarily something to believe that Monken is the senior. So they're not really losing any. They haven't lost anything. I see that they've got the pads off of 13 down here. He may be done for the evening. He's down here on the sideline with his pads off. They're working on him, but they may be going with Monken for the rest of the night.
Well, certainly he's the bigger of the 2 quarterbacks that they had listing him at 194, and the senior, Marchand, who started as a junior, is 150 pounds. But apparently they have used both of them at quarterback, and they have a little trouble deciding at the start of the game who's going to be the starting quarterback, so they list them both.
Well, and we did notice, too, that Marchand, in the pregame, I see now he's got on some rib pads and everything. He may be hurt. He may have been hurt prior to tonight. This may not all be tonight's problem. He's wearing rib pads and everything before the game. So it looks like the Crusaders are back up here.
Spread formation to the left, out of the eye backfield, give to the tailback, sweeping to the left. Mooney up, makes first contact. Brian Self helps with the tackle.
Inside the 10 to about the 8, looks like.
So Belleville offensively on the ground has done just about anything they wanted to do against the Bulldogs thus far, although we did throw them for a loss on one play a moment ago. A big pickup of 8 yards on that first down try. Spread formation to the left. Now they shift. Double tight end, power eye right. Quarterback gives the first back up. Stacked up in there by number 60, Ron Sells.
Looks like 75 is in on the tackle, and
Stacy
74
Deal.
and Dana Carter.
Ball inside the 10 at the Bulldog 9. 3rd and 4 for the Crusaders. Power eye right, split right.
All right, they've got them stopped again here, George, looks like. So here we come back again to 4th and short. Again, this could be a real good defensive stance if the Bulldogs could shut them off right here inside the 10-yard line, because they may be kicking a field goal. I don't know what kind of a kicker they've got.
No, I think 66 bringing in the play there to Monken.
Yeah, he's...
Official timeout. And they've taken up a lot of time in this drive.
Yeah, they've had the ball here. We're under 6 minutes, so they've had the ball for more than half of the first quarter now.
Ball at the Bulldog 7. The Crusaders come to the line. 4th and 2. Split left, power eye right. Monken straight ahead.
It's going to be close.
Yeah. Quarterback sneak. He was stacked up in by the middle of the Bulldog defense. And the measurement will tell us.
Belleville thinks they've got it, I believe. They're going to call for the change, however.
Ball's inside the 5 at about the 4.5. 5:26 remaining first quarter. There is no score.
As a matter of fact, Belleville has had the ball since the opening kickoff, and yep, they must have it by about 2 or 3 inches. We're a long way away, but he had it by a whole lot less than the length of the football down there. That's short.
So the Crusaders first and goal at the Bulldog 4.
Well, the defense is beginning to hold them at least at times. They're not just running straight through them like they were early on. Maybe we're beginning to solve some of this offense.
Straight handoff to 44. That's Schaefer. Chad Mueller, 210-pound senior. Forward for about a yard.
Picked up on the play of about a yard. Second and goal.
Bulldog front 4 gearing up to stop this Crusader drive. You see the Belleville bench. There's a flag.
This may be too much time, or either he's broke one of the.
Crusaders are clapping. That must be against the Bulldogs.
Offside. One of those front 4 stepped across the plane. I'm sure he must have jumped up there and.
That's a 1-yard penalty.
Yeah.
Half the distance to the goal.
Might explain that to some of the people who don't understand that you don't have to line up offsides. If you walk up there and walk offsides, you're offsides in high school. The way I understand the penalty. Munkin
under center, power eye right, split right. Gives to the up back 24, who's in for the score. Tom Myatt, 185-pound junior, scores for the Belleville Althoff Crusaders as they break on top with 4:23 remaining in the first quarter. Pretty methodical,
just straight up the field. They haven't thrown the ball once or even acted like they intended to throw the ball, George. They just take the ball and as you say, that same old block and tackle and just ran it right down our throats. It did take up a considerable amount of time, but if you're doing the scoring, it doesn't make any difference.
Greg Eichner does kick the extra point, making the score the Crusaders from Belleville 7, the Bulldogs of Sikeston 0, who will receive the football for the first time. You might mention too, Ron, this is the Bulldogs' 3rd game, and that's the first rushing touchdown that they've given up. 4 touchdowns have been scored against them in the 2 previous games, and they had all been by the pass.
Well, this is, as I said in the pregame, I think this may be the best. I'm for sure it's the best 0-3 team we've ever played, and it may be one of the better teams we've faced this year. Right? They sure showed themselves well there. They just, as we said, took the ball and ran it right down the field. There wasn't, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 times when the Dogs stood them up and stopped them. So we're going to have to solve this offense in a hurry, or it's going to be a long night for the Dogs.
Well, our offense can help solve it by taking the football back and doing the same thing. We see Gerald's is deep for the Bulldogs, who trail 7-0. 4:23 remaining first quarter. Ball teed at the right hash mark. There's the kick. Coming down to 33, Keith Buck, who takes it straight up the middle behind the wedge. Gets pretty good yardage.
Back up there, too. It looks like they're going to start at about our own 35-yard line, 34 to 35-yard line.
32, Brian Price was the Bulldog that returned that kickoff. So Laughlin and company onto the field for the Bulldogs, who opened 1st and 10 at their own 34-yard line. Self-split to the right.
Another one of those looks like Self just walked up there and walked right straight across the line and again and gets a 5-yard penalty. Now it won't be a 1-yard this time out here in the middle of the field, but this is again just a lack of concentration, I guess you might call it. He just walked up there and walked across the line of scrimmage.
Well, we might mention that Brian is substituting at the wide receiver tonight for Greg Grant, who has a little problem with an injured leg, but will play on defense, but he won't play offense. Self has replaced him. Self comes wide to the right. Fetch split to the left. Gerald in the slot left. Laughlin back to pass.
He's going for a bundle.
Oh, it's picked off. Picked off by 34 from Belleville.
Brent Kessler.
150-pound junior picks off Jim Laughlin's first pass of the night. And the Crusaders will take over.
Back in business here on about Sikeston's 38-yard line, 39-yard line looks like where they're going to spot it.
Dogs are going to try to get that back in a bundle, weren't they?
Well, I guess that's one of the mistakes or whatever that you might say from a young team. You try to get it all at once, and maybe that's not the way to do it. However, we'll see.
Munkin back wants to throw. Underthrown, incomplete, pass intended for number 84.
Terry Reno is a 175-pound junior, intended receiver. Way short, however. He wasn't even close on that throw.
Did you see Chip Thornton calling the defensive huddle? Crusaders to the line, split left. Now they shift back in tight into a slot left eye.
Going to throw again.
Little flat pass out here to number 44. He's got some running room.
Uh-oh, we got a flag on the play here. Come in late.
You commented a minute ago, Ron. First time we've seen officials in short pants.
Yeah. Going to have a clipping penalty on Belleville, so this is going to work in favor of the Dogs here. Yeah, I don't think that I've seen them on TV, of course, in short pants, but I think these are the first ones I've ever seen in person wearing short breeches.
Well, it's a good football night weather-wise. There is no breeze. The flag is limp at the pole. Temperature maybe, in the 70s, upper 60s perhaps. Good weather for football. As you see, the ball marched back right to the midfield stripe, clipping against the Crusaders. We'll bring up a 2nd and 21. Different from the first time they had the football. Now they have thrown 2 passes or attempted 2 passes on this offensive set, whereas the first time they ran the football.
Yeah, they may be working on their whole offense tonight a little bit.
Back to pass again.
Well, they're going to get another penalty. Oh, number 8 for the Bulldogs.
Pass intended for Terry Reno, overthrown.
Latham in and out of his hands. Looked like he had a real good shot at the interception, but they're going to have holding now on Belleville, so they're going to back him up some more. So their passing offense not nearly as high-powered as their running offense at this point.
Well, they may go back to the run before long. 2:54 remaining in the first quarter. Belleville leading the Bulldogs 7-0.
Discussing the options here, and the Dogs are going to take the penalty because this is going to put them even back further. It looks like they're going to end up here about the 35, inside the 35-yard line of the Belleville, holding on the offense.
Second, how many now? We'll have to calculate this. 36.
The man on the scoreboard saying 31, so I think he's a high school math teacher or something.
Well,
so we'll let him figure all of that out. And the field announcer says 37, so you're as right as anybody. I guess you're taking the middle ground here tonight.
Second and long.
Second
for the
and a
Crusaders.
ton. Of course, this puts them almost into a passing situation, so we'll see. Maybe the Dogs had a good shot at intercepting that last one, so maybe we can come up with one here.
They haven't put much pressure on Munkin.
Second man through, and they got him stopped 24. Mayat, 185-pound junior.
Pickup of only a couple, bringing up a 3rd and 34. Definitely a passing situation if you're going to attempt to pick up the 1st and 10. Clock winding down in the first quarter, 2:23 remaining. Slot to the right. Munkin back to pass. Screen to the right to 44 down the sideline. Well defensed by the Bulldogs. They push him out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. That will bring up a punting situation for the Crusaders.
Dogs are going to get the ball and should get the ball here in pretty good position. Maybe we can see what they can do here with 2 minutes and 4 seconds left in the first quarter. They should have the ball here on the LE backed up to the 10-yard line. Who is a Self back for the Bulldogs?
Brian Self. Pretty good kick. Self fields it at the 19. Starts down the right sideline. 31. I haven't seen Greg Grant at all. I thought that he was going to play some on defense, but I've not seen him in the lineup tonight.
Well, I was talking to one of the guys earlier out here, and I was looking along the sidelines over there. I think he may be dressed, but they said he's hobbled pretty good today at school, so we may not see him much, if any, unless it just really comes to a have to.
Well, that's a blow to the Bulldog offense and defense as he played both ways. Laughlin brings the Bulldogs to the line. Gives to Gerald's off left tackle. He's hit hard in there by number 40 of the Crusaders, Dan Schaefer, a 200-pound junior.
Gets about a yard out of it. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that the loss of Grant all both ways is he cut probably made one of the finest catches in that Charleston ball game, which meant the difference in the ball game, I guess, as it turned out. And,
yeah, a dandy catch. Slot left, split backfield. Laughlin wants to throw. Quick pass out to Buck. Off his hands and picked off. Number 34 by the Crusaders picked off the deflected pass. Brett Kessler.
That's two for him tonight. They're going to be here again inside the Dogs' 25. So let's see what their offensive. They're inside of a minute here in the first quarter. So.
Defense is back out for the Dogs again. They've played literally this whole first quarter with the exception of, 3-4 offensive plays. The defense has been on the field. Clock moving, 47 seconds remaining first quarter.
Give it to the second man. They got him rounded up out here.
Myatt, the ball carrier.
That may be the last play of this first quarter, inside of 30 seconds right now. They may get one more in before the quarter.
Pickup of 1. You see 32, Brian Price calling the defensive signals. Crusaders come to the line with 10 seconds remaining. They're going to get it off. Give to the up back, number 40, off right tackle. As that ends the first quarter.
Score here 7-0 in favor of Belleville All-Talk Crusaders. We'll be back right after this message.
Sikeston Public Schools will dedicate the new middle school facility this Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Keynote speaker for the dedication will be Dr. Arthur Mallory, Commissioner of the Missouri Department of Education. An open house allowing the public to inspect the new facility will be conducted after the dedication ceremony, and refreshments will be served. The public is invited to attend.
Southeast Missouri football, 1985. Second-year head coach Bob Smith is hungry for victory and eager to restore authority to the Indian football program. Join the Indians in '85 they're not going to take it anymore. No! This week, the Indians are at home against Tennessee Martin.
Bringing up fourth and about 9 to go here.
Yeah, good defensive play by the Bulldogs on the right side of the line. 4th and 9. Munkin back to pass. Got a receiver out in the flats, overthrown, and the Bulldogs will take over. A new wrinkle there, Ron, as some of the viewers just saw, a couple of little promos and commercial type things in between quarters. Well handled. That's a nice job.
Yeah, I think this is, we get a little more professional every week or every year, and as you see, we've got scores to post on the screen, and we've got a bunch of new
Graphics and all.
Yeah, new graphics for us, and we've got a regular program. We're getting right uptown. Thanks to Rodney McConnell, not thanks to much of what we do.
Bulldogs take over. Ball at the 22. Wow, he's hit in there hard. Chris Taylor, the ball carrier. Bulldogs having a lot of difficulty generating any type of offense against the Belleville defense. The Crusaders are big. They penetrate well. And they're doing an awful fine job on defense.
Well, again tonight with Jim gone, we're not going to have any stats. But from the Bulldogs' standpoint, up to now, there's not many stats to talk about offensively. We got the ball. Looks like Belleville's going to have the ball again at about the Bulldog 20.
Offense just can't get on track. The ball was pitched. Gerald's bounced out of his hands and was recovered by the Crusaders as they take over at about the Bulldog 21. Just inside the second quarter, 10-17 remaining. Belleville does lead 7-0.
Well, again, the defense is back out here, George, as we've talked about there. They've been there all night, but for most of them, it doesn't make any difference. They play. A lot of our boys play both ways anyway, but
I do see Greg Grant, number 14, in the secondary now.
Looks like it. Well, a big loss here for
Willie Gillespie in on the tackle. Pitch to the halfback was a little high. He reached for it, and about that time, Gillespie tackled him for a loss of about 5. There's a flag on the field.
It's going to be holding on Belleville, so I suspect that the Dogs are going to decline this because they're going to lose almost 10 yards. It looks like they're going to lose about 7 anyway, so I would speculate that the Dogs will take the play and put Belleville one more down away from
talking to 55, Chris Thornton, the defensive captain. Referee explaining all the options to him. Holding Belleville is declined. We'll bring up a second. About 15. Self, Latham, Grant in the Bulldog secondary. Quick pitch to number 10. The halfback goes around to the left side, tackle.
They ran from that spread that time, George, and on a quick count, and maybe caught the Dogs a little bit before they were ready. But they're back to about the original line of scrimmage. 3rd and about 10 now for the Dogs or for Belleville at the Dogs 20.
Got tackled by Sean Eubanks. Power eye right. Give to the tailback. He's hit first by Carter and then stacked up by the Bulldog defense. Pick up maybe of 1.
Well, I'm sure we're going to say this more than once tonight, George, but I think we really have to pat the Dogs defense on the back, brother. They have been out there and continue, except for that first drive by the Crusaders. They've continued to put the pressure on them and stop them here They've got them now again 4th and long. So they've really done a tremendous job tonight.
Monken up under center. Out of the pro set, slot right, back to pass. Hits 84 across the middle. Tackled by Grant. And Thornton, I think he's going to be short.
I think he's going to be short, and the Dogs are going to have it at about their own 10-yard line here.
Officials timeout. They may want to measure. No.
No, they're going to turn the ball.
Bulldogs have taken over. With 8:01 remaining in the second quarter, the Bulldogs back on offense as Belleville continues to lead 7-0.
Well, maybe this will be the time that we can begin to generate a little offense and at least keep that defense over and give those boys a rest for a while. And if we can get this thing evened up here before halftime, we'll be ready to go for the second half. I think it's got to be a big help to them if we can generate a little offense to the defense.
Laughlin gives to Gerald off right tackle, stacked up, pickup of a couple. That front wall of Belleville's defense is off. It's good size. Got some heavyweights in there, and our offensive line is having some difficulty moving them out of the holes.
Yeah, it looks like that particularly those two boys right square in the middle, 235 and 240, are really tough.
Out of the eye. Give to Gerald, tries left tackle. He's hit hard. Going to bring up a 3rd and 7. Vetch into the game for the Bulldogs. Red Grant comes into the game for the Bulldogs.
Well, maybe Grant can pull us another miracle here and keep us back on this drive, Georgia. We sure do need something. We need to get us a first down here pretty quickly. I think for morale, if for nothing else.
Grant splits to the right, Vetch to the left, out of the eye. Laughlin pitches to Gerald, trying to sweep right in, and he's stacked up for a loss.
Got by one guy, but they swarmed him over there on the right-hand side and finally brought him down.
And there is another flag on the play.
It's going to be on the Dogs. I didn't get the signal, but they're pointing. The preliminary signal is pointing at the Dogs, so they're probably going to decline this penalty and make it 4th down. And
any 1st and 10s for Sikeston tonight?
I would say, look again, I'm not keeping stats since we're trying to do the play-by-play with that Jim tonight, but I don't remember any. I don't think they've. I'd say they're probably still running in a deficit in yardage right now.
Going to bring up a 4th and 11. Bulldogs up in a punting situation.
They're going to take a
timeout. Now they want a timeout. Bulldogs backed up deep in their territory with a 4th down punt.
They're going to be punting deep out of their own end zone. We can't make a mistake here and give them one real cheap here. And so maybe this is a smart play. They get up there and they see something that they don't like, and he calls a timeout, and it sure be giving away a touchdown here.
Well, you see the Belleville punt receiver. As you see, the score is 7-0 in the second quarter. Is way inside Bulldog territory, lined up at about the
35-yard line out there. So, and I think we'd have to admit that kicking's not one of the strong points of our game this year. We haven't had a real good kicking game, but I don't think there's much. I mean, that's just you either have that talent or you don't. I know you kicked in high school, and I don't know that you can teach a guy a whole lot of that. I mean, he's got to have some of that on his own. Well, here we go.
Price will do the punting. He does get it off. It's a short kick. Fair catch given by number 21, Mike Ludd. And the Crusaders take over.
We're going to have it at the Bulldog 30 or just outside the 30-yard line of the Bulldogs here.
And a late flag. pointing toward the Crusader bench.
We had some of them guys out there on the field. It looks like they're crowding that line, and I noticed there were some coaches out there pretty quickly. So I still didn't get the signal. Did you see what he said?
No, he'll give it again, I think. It's a major penalty. Maybe an unsportsmanlike. That will move the ball back.
Yep, they're calling it unsportsmanlike. I don't know for what reason, but as you said, it came from over in the bench area of Belleville, so maybe somebody over there said something or...
Well, that sets the Crusaders up 1st and 10 at the Bulldog 46. See Thornton and Carter, Sells, defensive front line. 5:56 remaining in the second quarter. Munkin under the center as they shift. Wing right eye. Gives to the up back. Straight ahead for about 8. Dan Schaefer, the ball carrier.
Managed to break one tackle right there, George. He, which is what they've been doing all night. They've been penetrating that first tackle, and then that gives you about 7 or 8 yards if you can get by that first man. Then you get those safeties tackling these big backs, and that's not much of a...
I've been impressed. Their blocking up front has been very good, and those backs hit the holes quick.
Yeah, they're getting by those defensive linemen. They're having to try to arm tackle them, and
Munkin straight ahead to Mueller. Not much there.
So they got in front of that one. Got him stood up at the line. 75 there.
Stacy Deal.
Stacy and.
As you see a shot of the Crusaders bench.
3rd and about 2 or 3, looks like.
Munkin quick hitter. Does pick up the 1st and 10. The Crusaders have numerous 1st and 10s.
Yeah, I think if we were to have stats tonight, I think they
would be
up,
lopsided at this point.
Yeah, I'd say a whole lot more lopsided than the score is. I think we still need to keep mentioning the score. We're not downplaying the Dogs at all. They're playing a good team, and they're only losing 7-0 here with 4:15 in the first half. So even though the stats are lopsided, the Dogs have held them to 1 touchdown.
Give to Mueller off left guard, straight ahead, a pickup of about 5. And again, they're back to what they did successfully the first time they had the football. They're just jamming it right down the Bulldogs' throats and picking up 3, 4, 5 with each carry.
Well, they're running right behind this big offensive. It may be inexperienced, but they've got a big offensive line, and they're just taking the ball and running right behind them, and it's working. There's no question about that.
Power eye right. Give to the up back. Flags.
So the flags here before the... Got the their motion against Belleville here, so that's.
Well, that's been in our favor. Most of the penalties have been against the Crusaders.
Yeah, I don't think the Dogs have been penalized yet. I was trying to think about that. I don't know that they've had any penalties, and.
Ask our statistician.
Yeah, I think maybe he's taking the night off or.
Pulling other duties tonight.
Yeah.
2nd and 11 for the Crusaders. Ball at the Bulldog 36. Out of the spread formation. Munkin options. Pitches out to the halfback.
He's going to get about 3 or 4 out of it after all of that.
Greg Latham, one of the Bulldogs, in on the tackle, number 8. pretty good option play. They sprung it a little much to the outside. Latham was able to come up from his defensive position and make the tackle. Pickup of about 4. We'll bring a 3rd and 7. 2:46 remaining in the second period. Belleville leads 7-0. Crusader shift into a double tight end, power eye right. Give to, oh, it's going to pass. Throwing out in the flats to number 24, Tom Mott.
He's going to be short of the first down by about 2 yards or so, looks like. So they're going to end up at about 4th and about 3. I think they've got to go, looks like from the other side, they've got to go to that 25-yard marker. So
defense will have to do it again.
They've been pretty successful at shutting off that passing game. They really haven't done much with the pass.
Spread formation, wide side of the field. Now they shift back in tight, power eye left. Monken straight ahead to number 40. And he's picked up the 1st and 10. That's Dan Schaefer.
They're inside of about a minute and 41 seconds now with the clock stopped. The move to change, so...
Ball at the Bulldog 23.5, 24-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Crusaders. Monken keeps, sweeps the left side. He's got some running room to the outside.
Good tackle over there. We need to get his number.
Greg Latham, number 8.
Greg Latham again out there. He's done a real good job, except he's a safety. He don't need to be making those tackles. That's on the running plays. He doesn't need to be the one making the stops. But I guess it's
Crusaders take a timeout as Monken walks over to talk to his coach. I think he was feeling the effects of that tackle by Latham a little bit. He was trying to get himself back right again as he walked over there. He's got his hands on his hips and.
Well, I think we should point out, I think that I'm almost positive that Marchand is, I think that's the way they told us to pronounce his name, that their starting quarterback is completely out of uniform and he's got his arm in a sling down here, so I suppose that he's out for the evening. He's been walking up and down the sidelines over here with his arm in a sling, so I would think that Monken is going to be the quarterback, unless he gets hurt and then they'll back up some more, but I believe at this point, he's the quarterback for the evening.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, he may have been injured prior to tonight when he took off his shoulder pads. He had some type of rib or shoulder apparatus on there, and he may have been injured coming in. And on the first play of the game, he re-injured that injury perhaps, and he's out. Play just about back. Got a 2nd and 3. 1 minute, 10 seconds remaining in the second period. Crusaders on the move. Double tight, power eye right. Give to Schaefer straight up the middle. And he's got the 1st and 10. And inside the Bulldog 10-yard line. Tackled by Ron Sells. Official start the clock. We're at 1 minute remaining. Spread formation to the right. Power eye left. Option to the right side.
Good tackle out here.
Chris Mooney up to make the tackle for the Bulldogs.
Mooney and Grant in there on the second hit, so they've...
As the Crusaders quickly stop the clock with 42 seconds remaining. Ball at the 9-yard line, is it?
Looks like it's just inside the 9 of the Bulldogs, so they're about 8.5 or so yards away from another score, but the Dogs have been tough down here, so maybe they can hold them out of this end zone and go into the halftime at only down 1 touchdown, and I think that wouldn't be any disgrace at this point, too.
No, I'd have to agree. The Crusaders do lead 7-0 after taking the opening kickoff, marching it down the field by the way of the rush and into the end zone. The extra point was good. They've threatened a time or two others, but the defense has held as we hope they do here. As you see Coach Randy Fiddler talking to his defensive charges.
Well, they've played most of this first half. There's no doubt that they've got to be tired, but they've only got 42 more seconds. Maybe they can get themselves up for 2 more plays here and keep Belleville out of this end zone one more time.
Second and goal at the 9. Monken under center. Wing left. Give to the up back. That's number 40. That's Schaefer.
They're going to stop him for about a gain of about 2 yards, so he's going to be, they call it 33 seconds. So it's going to be, they're going to spot the ball down around the 7-yard line, looks like.
Stacy Deal and Chip Thornton getting up off the bottom of that tackle. Third and goal at the 6.
Well, again, the Dogs need to hold them here twice more. I think they, I'm not sure that they haven't. They may not have another timeout. This may be their last timeout. I don't know. They had to take a timeout when the quarterback was hurt at the first one. So this is their 3rd timeout, I guess.
Yeah,
so
I think they've used them up.
So they may, if the Dogs can stop them here, they may be able to run the clock out. But anyway, they need to get themselves up here one more time at least. Well, here they come. Coach Fiddler's off the field, and we're ready to.
They've got them spread out.
Now we've got a timeout for the Dogs. The Dogs don't. Coach Fiddler didn't like what he saw, so he's gonna get in some new troops in, and looks like he might have been short one. Gillespie might not have been. Is that Gillespie coming in?
67.
67. That's not Gillespie.
Oh, there goes the Bulldog out. Chris Taylor out. That's a change at linebacker.
Oh, Chico Ford, number 67, coming into the game.
That may have been a good use of the timeout as the Crusaders came to the line of scrimmage in an unusual formation, at least one that the Bulldogs hadn't seen. They immediately called timeout. Coach Fiddler comes back out and can instruct them how to cover this. If indeed the Crusaders are out of timeout, you might expect a pass, and particularly where they went to the line of scrimmage with a wide slot to the left, they did look like they were going to throw the football.
Well, and as we mentioned earlier, they sure have a varied offensive set. I don't know that they vary their offense much. I mean, they've pretty much done what 3 yards in a cloud of dust is.
But they can give it a lot of different appearances, can't they, by the way they're doing the shifting.
They line up an awful lot of funny ways, and I think that's got to be confusing for these high school boys, and particularly these boys from Sikeston. Most of them are young, and most of them haven't had it. Again, they're in this spread-out formation.
Monken rolling to the left, wants to throw the football. Overthrows the receiver in the end zone.
27 seconds, so he's going to get him one more. He's going to get one more chance there.
Now he's going to get a field goal attempt here now.
Yeah, it looks like they're bringing out the tee, and
6 new players in and 6 out.
73 and 74 come in the ball game, and they look like they may be the other half of the refrigerator set. 260 and 230. Mike Wibbenmeyer, the 260-pound senior, number 73. He
got him in there for blocking purposes. A field goal attempt from the 19. It'll be a 29-yard attempt by the soccer-style kicker, number 33, Greg Eitner. Snap, ball's down, the kick is up, and it may be good.
It is.
And it is good. So the Crusaders go ahead of the Sikeston Bulldogs 10-0 with 27 seconds remaining in the second quarter. So they have put some more points on the board, Ron.
Well, and again, I think that you can't expect the defense to just stay out there forever and ever. And they played this whole first half, and they did give it up. They did hold them with inside the 10 there.
They've kept them out of the end zone on 3 or 4 successive drives there.
and 2 or 3 times I think got down inside the 10 there. So what we've got to do is get some offense generated here. I think that's the real secret now is the.
Well, with 27 seconds, you don't really anticipate a lot of time for the Bulldogs to do much. The kickoff and the run back are going to consume a little of that time. That's not going to leave them with too many seconds to try to score. Gerald is deep for the Bulldogs, has 77. Ken Shields has the ball teed up. Low, short kick. Bobbled around, picked up by Chris Taylor. Starts to the right, back up the middle. He returns to about the 35-yard line.
Well, Doug's got 19 seconds here. They're going to get a play or two off, and
do you put it up?
Well, I suppose you have to at least give it your best shot. They've got the clock started here at 10 seconds. I think we better put it up and see what we can do.
Laughlin with the snap, pitches to Gerald, who sweeps to the left. He's got some room to the outside. Cuts back, still on his feet. Finally tackled by number 40, Schaefer.
Okay, Mark Gerald, half.
As the second half comes to an end, Belleville Crusaders lead the Bulldogs 10-0. Ron, as you mentioned it, the defense has played the majority of the first half. They've done a pretty good job. We've got some things to work out in the locker room at halftime.
Well, I think they need to get themselves ready to go back here, and we've got to generate some offense. So we're going to have...
got some halftime coming up. The Sikeston High School Band. We'll be back.
The tradition of excellence continues at Southeast Missouri State University. For over a century, faculty have prepared students to meet the challenges of a changing society. There is great popularity in business programs. Recently, students taking the CPA exam passed at a rate almost double the national average. Computer science majors enjoy new, modern facilities, and the marketing department ranks in the top 12% in the nation. Programs in science utilize the latest scientific technology. In the past 2 years, 80% of our pre-med students were accepted to medical schools, while the national success rate is only 42%. Programs in humanities are keeping pace with today's challenges. A new mass communications department offers a variety of options. As a complement to teacher education, numerous master's programs and a specialist degree are offered. At Southeast Missouri State University, we are preparing students to meet the future with confidence.
older sister's sizzling hit, "I'm So Excited," provides the background for tonight's twirling routine by the SHS twirling line, led by head twirler Miss Sherry Carlisle. The band bids summer farewell with a salute to suntans, swimming, outdoor fun, and especially those lovely Sikeston High School girls. As the band prepares to conclude this evening's halftime performance with a traditional red and black, we'd like to thank you for your support, your kind attention, and your warm applause.
If you enjoyed this evening's performances by Sikeston freshmen and varsity bands, you'll want to be sure to attend the 41st Annual Marching Band Festival in October the 1st. You'll be able to see individual performances by bands from many area high schools, including both Sikeston bands. The evening will conclude with a mass band show featuring all the bands in attendance. Show your support for the Sikeston bands by attending this colorful musical festival Tuesday, October the 1st at the Jackson High School Stadium.
Southeast Missouri football, 1985. Second-year head coach Bob Smith is hungry for victory and eager to restore authority to the Indian football program. Join the Indians in 85. They're not going to take it anymore. No! This week, the Indians are at home against Tennessee Martin.
Neither team has made an appearance yet. Back to the field. Belleville does lead the Bulldogs 10-0. Any comments on the first half?
Well, I think we were standing around here talking, and I think that Belleville has proved that they can run the ball against Sikeston, and they have yet to prove that they can pass it. I don't know what their plans are for the second half. If they come back out here with the ball and just try to run the score up, and I'm not saying that 10-0 is running the score up, but I think they have proven that they can just about run the ball at will. However, the Dogs' defense has played really a tremendous ball game. I just can't say that over and over enough. I believe the defense has just been outstanding. Maybe we can get the offense up here at the halftime and see if we can at least. I'm sure that we don't have any stats, as we say. Jim's gone tonight, and so you and I are doing the play-by-play, and we don't really have any stats, but I don't think the Bulldogs had a first down. I'm sure they probably ended up with negative yardage for the first half, and if you don't score, you can't win any ball game. So that's the old story, and we haven't. Not only have we haven't even threatened to get a first and 10 at this point.
Yeah, as you said, if you were doing your normal job of the stats tonight, your part of it wouldn't be very long. As we see the clock winding down, 3:55 remaining before the third quarter will get underway. The defense has been out, and they've played pretty well. They've played the biggest part of the first half. Offense has yet to generate much offense. We saw Saturday, some bright spots of the offense that the Bulldogs were able to pass the ball, did a good job of passing and receiving, and had hopes that the offense was going to begin to generate week after week and improve, but you're looking at a pretty good 0-3 football team from Belleville. As you mentioned earlier, they have played some good competition. They're looking for their first win, and they appear to be very eager to get that first win under their belt. The competition they do play in Illinois and up around the St. Louis area is very stiff. I think I read in the paper they had only scored 16 points in 3 games that they had lost. And here they come down and put 10 points on the scoreboard against us in the first half. After the opening kickoff with the ball and marched down the field about 60 yards or so, all with running plays and punched it in, they threatened a time or two again. The Bulldog defense did stiffen up and held them out until they did kick a field goal right at the end of the second quarter to make the score 10-0. So I don't know. The coaches, you can pat the boys on the back, pat the defense because they've done a good job, and go and try to talk it up to your offense and try to fire them up a little bit so they'll come out and hopefully put some points on the board in the second half.
Well, the Dogs are going to get the ball first. That's one big advantage here. We're going to be able to see what the coaches have done at halftime and see if they've gotten the offense up any, and they're going to come out here and have the ball. So we'll see pretty quickly if they've been able to generate any enthusiasm, if that's what it takes, and I'm not sure that that's what it takes, because they may be just, I think the offensive line probably is of course outside. I don't think there's any doubt that.
Yeah, I think that's one thing, if I can interrupt there, that we need to mention, that Belleville is big. They've got some huge linemen offensively and defensively, and whether or not they're inexperienced, I don't know. They look like they've got some pretty good experience to me.
Well, but, and they as we've mentioned over and over again, and I think the people that aren't here and watching this on TV would have to realize that they're doing an awful lot of things. I mean, they're not just got a bunch of big guys out here lining up and running it. I mean, they're doing a lot of switching and moving before the snap of the ball and changing their lineups, and as we said, give you an awful lot of looks doing the same thing.
Yeah, very important in high school. You try to teach your defensive players to line up on a certain player's number on his inside or outside shoulder, and you've got them shifting around. Therefore, your defense is moving around, and then they go on the snap, and you've got defensive players that aren't set, that aren't ready, and you've got an offense coming right at you. So I'm sure the shifting around that they're doing has hurt the defense a little bit of the Bulldogs.
Well, the Crusaders are back out here, George, as you can see on the screen here. They're back out here getting warmed up. The Dogs have not reappeared, and it's running down to about 35 seconds here on the scoreboard clock. I think that the coach has plenty to say, and he's probably taking every opportunity to say it. Now the Dogs are coming out now, but really, I think this first series of downs, and you'd hate to call it, important this early in the game, but this got to be a big one.
Yeah, they need to move the football a little bit, the first and 10 or 2, and generate some offense and get some confidence built back up in the offensive team. I think we need to mention, too, that having Greg Grant on offense has hurt the Bulldogs. Last week at Charleston, he ran that wing-back trap, or that wing-back around play very successfully and picked up some good yardage. And he also scored or caught the long pass. So not having Greg on the offensive side of the football has hurt the offense.
Well, and of course, we might say, too, they've thrown one interception the first time Laughlin threw the ball tonight. Was an interception, and I guess he's thrown two, hasn't he? Now that I come to think of it, he's thrown two interceptions, but might make you a little gun shy. You come out there the first time you throw the ball and throw it, throw your interception. So they just really haven't generated much offense. I was looking back over here. I did this afternoon some stats here from the previous two games, and I don't think we'll even come close to that. In the first game against Belleville, we only had 31 yards of offense in the first half, and I'm sure, like I say, I think we ended up with a minus yardage the first half tonight. But we just can't. Passing, surprisingly, has been our biggest weapon, and we're not having time to do much of that tonight either. So.
Of course, there's an old saying, I don't know how much truth there is to it, that you've got to start your running game before you can set up a passing game. Maybe in the pros there might be something to that, but the Bulldogs came right out on the first play from scrimmage today, Laughlin went back to pass, and it was picked off. So I think that kind of set the tone for the offense at the outset.
Well, and particularly, like we say, that Belleville just took the ball and just, well, I think they held it for, about 6 or 7, between 7 minutes the first time they had the ball. They just took it and just methodically took it down there, and then you throw the interception, you sure get your offense off on a bad start, and you get them a little gun shy maybe. So maybe Coach Vickers got them in there at halftime and jack them up a little bit, and they'll come out here with the ball, and I'm not, I sure wouldn't want to say they'd have to score here, but I'm like you. I think they need to make a first downer and prove that they can do, can generate some kind of offense, because if you don't do much on offense, it's going to be a long night.
Well, a few little successes in this first offensive set, a first and 10 here and there, a ground pickup or two by Gerald's off tackle, perhaps around the end. Give it to Taylor off tackle and get some yardage, get some confidence, built back up in your offensive linemen that they're able to open up holes will help the entire offensive unit.
Well, you need to get a little respect out of this defense too. I think this defense here, they may have gone in thinking that they're invincible too, and if we can come out here and stick it right to them here a couple of times, why everybody might be a little more on par. We still only scored 2 times. I don't think that we need to act like we think we're out of the ball game at any point, because I mean at this point, because 2 scores all it takes to get back in there, and we know that doesn't take very long. They proved that over Charleston last Saturday afternoon. Yeah,
in a seesaw. Well, we've rattled on here for about 10 minutes as we've had some extra time to fill. As you see, both teams back on the field now, ready. The Crusaders ready to go. We've got Gerald's deep, flanked by Price and Taylor and Ron Ryan. Ball is teed at the right hash. The up man kicks the ball. A short kick. Fielded, I think, by Sean Eubanks, and goes to the ground with it. That was rather unusual. It wasn't an onside kick, but the safety that was up by the football to the left side of the field. There was no return, but the Bulldogs do have pretty good field position.
They're going to end over here on their own 36. So if we end up with a good field position now, if we can just take it and do something with it.
So that in itself is a good start. Laughlin under the center. Gerald's at tailback. Give to Taylor straight up the middle for a couple. Chris Taylor out of the fullback position. Keith Buck in with the play. Joe Fetch out. 2nd and 8. Buck comes wide to this side. Self split wide at the top. Give to Taylor again up the middle off left tackle, and he picks up about 4. He was hit early, but struggled forward for a couple of extra yards.
Well, I think this is what we said that the Dogs need to do, and they've come right out here and on, at least on the first 2 plays, George have stick it right at them, and I think that's they managed to do that here. They've gained 5 or 6 yards on the first 2 plays, which is much better than they were.
3rd and 5 for the Bulldogs. Slot left, motions with Self. Laughlin back to pass, hits Self out in the flats. He's got it.
He's got
the first and 10. So a little razzle-dazzle and sort. Self lined up wide at your screen, came to the bottom. Laughlin hit him with the pass and picked up the 1st and 10. Probably the initial 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs, don't you think?
As far as I know, I think that must be. I don't remember them having a 1st and 10 in the first half. Pushing, you take a little steam out of this. I think this thing, they had shut us out in the first half, and they come out here pretty high, and now we've...
Laughlin gives to Gerald. He's sweeping the right side, cuts it back up the middle for about 3. They've bottled Mark up pretty good tonight. I guess they got a good scouting report from him at Charleston. I was impressed with the way he run, particularly in the second half last Saturday at Charleston.
He got about 80 in the second half last week, or I think he totaled maybe about 115 or 18 according to my figure from last week. So I'm sure that they looked at those films and had his number wrote down.
Laughlin gives to Taylor up the middle.
Oh, ball. All right, we've got it back. The Dogs are going to end up with it back.
Taylor hit hard after a pickup of about 6, but fumbled the ball backward, and I think Dana Corner, number 74, comes up with it for the Bulldogs. We'll bring up a 3rd and 4. 9:23 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Belleville leads the Bulldogs 10-0. Again, you've got a 3rd down situation here that's very important for the Bulldogs if they want to continue their drive. Slot left eye. Give up the middle to Taylor. He's going to be short.
Yeah, I think he's coming up short here about a yard or 2.
Ball's going to be marked in Belleville territory at the 44.
4th and about 3, and I think the Dogs are going to punt here. It looks. Well,
yeah. Price is back to punt for the Bulldogs.
Can't see their deep man. I don't see his number.
Pretty good snap. Good rush. Kicks off, spiraling down the middle. It's fumbled.
I believe the Dogs have it.
Jim Dalton down the field for the Bulldogs, recovers the fumble punt. And the Bulldogs take over.
About the 16 or 17 yard line of Belleville.
At the Crusader 7, so that's a break that we wanted.
Yeah, that's a dandy break. That was just the fault of their deep man. He just kind of ambled up there and let the ball hit him almost. He
probably should have gotten away from that ball when he saw that he couldn't field it on the fly without being in a lot of traffic. Slot left eye. Laughlin calling the signals, gives to Gerald behind Price's block, and he's smothered.
Well, as we said earlier, he had a real good game last week, and I'm sure that's the game that Belleville scouted, and they wrote his number on everybody's wrist or whatever they do to remind them. So I think they've all got 47 on their mind, which...
well, rightfully they should if they want to stop the all-round game. Ron Baker into the Bulldog lineup. Again, out of the slot left eye. And we've got some flags.
Got a feeling that's on the Dogs, either motion or...
I think we're going to have an illegal procedure call against the Bulldogs, and will cost them 5.
I think I looked that up. This is a new signal to me, but I think this is where they don't don't have their mouthpiece in, or some equipment penalty of some sort. I've forgotten now what they do call that thing.
Out of the pro set, now Gerald shifts into the slot left. Laughlin back to pass. Middle screen. Pass overthrown, intended. For Price. We'll bring up a third down for the Bulldogs. 7:04 remaining in the third quarter. Big play for the Bulldogs. 3rd and 15. Out of the pro set eye. Fake to Gerald's. Laughlin under some pressure. Goes it up.
Okay, touchdown. 85. That's
a touchdown pass.
Fetch out there for the touchdown.
Laughlin's a fetch.
Well, this year got to get the Dogs jacked up now. If we get this one, kick this extra point, we'll only be down by 3 and give the defense. We've given the defense a real good rest. They've been off the field now for about 5 minutes. That's the longest.
Fetch worked his way down into the corner of the Bulldog end zone, and
he just kind of slid out there, and there wasn't nobody out there with him, and just a matter of course, that's the kind that always scare you. Sometimes you get that wide open, and the quarterback can see him, and he sometimes has a tendency to want to get it there too quick or whatever, and overthrow or underthrow the ball. And at that time, Laughlin just stood right in there and threw a strike right to Fetch in the corner of the end zone.
He was under some pressure, too. Right as he got rid of the ball, he was hit and held up good, and Fetch cradled it pretty good. He went down and made sure he wasn't going to drop that ball. Bulldogs took a timeout as they trail Belleville 10-6. Maybe some indecision as to whether they want to kick the extra point, as you see Self coming into the game with the tee. .6:57 remaining in the third period.
Self the place kicker, and he's
up. Got some movement and flags.
Bill point at Sikeston, Sikeston point at Belleville. So
one of them will be right.
Yeah. Offsides, Belleville. Now we may try. We may try. They're looking at the bench again now. The Dogs are, to see if they want to go now. It's going to be about 1.5 yards. And I believe they may be changing their ideas here. They're running in some new troops. So let's see what the Dogs have decided to do here.
But if you go,
they're throwing the tee out, so they're going to go for 2.
If you go for 2 and you're successful, that would make the score 10-8, and a field goal would win you a game 11-10 if that worked out that way for the Bulls.
Well, and you got to score twice regardless. I guess the coach
double tight eye. Gerald's at tailback. Give to Gerald's off tackle. He's going to be stopped, I think, short. Yeah, no good.
They just piled up that big defensive line of Belleville, just held their ground. And
well, nonetheless, the Bulldogs did move the ball down after they picked up the fumble punt, and the pass was complete from Laughlin to Fetch.
Well, and like I say, they've here 6:57 left in the third quarter, and they've had the ball the whole third quarter. So consequently, like I say, they've given this defense a rest and maybe give this defense a little incentive now to come out here and put it to Belleville and get this ball right back for the offense. I think that we've all got to feel better now that it's 10-6, and we've proved that we can move the ball.
Well, on the same token, this is going to be a big first offensive set for the Crusaders as they come back out now in the second half after they did fumble the punt moments ago, and it gave Sikeston the football back, and they took it down and scored. So they've got to feel that they've got to reestablish a little momentum.
Looks like Self kicking off. No, it's
short kick to one of the upbacks. Number 44 straight up the middle for Belleville.
About 35. Belleville's 35, so they're going to have their
Chad Mueller on the return. 76, a good-sized lad coming off the field for the Crusaders. Bill Stannis at 235 pounds, a junior. Ron in the front four of the Bulldogs. They're in a 3-set now. Power eye right. Give to the up back, and he's hit immediately. Spins away. Still on his feet.
I don't think he's going to get but about a yard out of all of that. He worked awful hard to keep him getting a loss, but he's going to end up with about a yard gain.
Just couldn't bring him down.
Big. What's he weigh? 210. Is that Mueller? Wasn't that Mueller with the ball that time at 210? So he's bigger than most folks playing on the line.
And he's a running back, huh?
Mm-hmm. Bootleg now over. Options off. They got this thing well. They got it.
Good adjustment. Tom Myatt, the ball carrier that time. They ran the option to the left side, and the whole right side of the Bulldog defense was over to make the stop. Pickup of about a yard. Well, this would be a big play for the Bulldog defense if they can hold Belleville at this point. 3rd and 9.
They're going to throw.
Ball's up. Almost picked off. Thornton had a shot at that, was able to knock it away from the defender, and the offense is going to get the football right back for the Bulldogs.
Looks like Self's going to be the return man. He drops back to about the Bulldog 40, inside the 40, there at about the 39 or so. And so Buck should have it in good field position again. I think that
Chad Mueller back to punt. 10 Bulldogs rushing. Straight up kick.
Yeah, he's going to.
Takes a Bulldog roll. And the Bulldogs are going to take over inside the Crusader territory at about the 44-yard line.
That's two mental mistakes that Belleville's made right there on 2 kicks. That boy backed off, and it was rolling in the wrong direction. I'm sure, and the coach is standing right there talking to him about it right now.
Shaking his finger in his face. Yeah, he should have downed that ball because that did bounce back into favor of the Bulldogs about 5 yards or so. So the Bulldogs take over 1st and 10 at the Belleville 44.
5 minutes here in the 3rd quarter.
Belleville leading 10-6. Give to the up back straight up the middle. He struggles forward for about a 5-yard pickup. Chris Taylor, the ball carrier. Offensive line beginning to move some of the Belleville Crusaders out now, and the backs are picking up some yardage. Maybe some blocking adjustments made by the coaches at halftime.
Well, and I do, you get a little of that feeling that you can do it, and these backs seem to be running a little better too. Taylor,
give to Taylor up the middle on an inside handoff.
Yeah, and he's fumbled, and Belleville's going to have the ball at their own 37 or 38-yard line.
A tough break for the offense. Taylor hit hard.
Almost as hard as one of the coaches hit the wall over there next door, huh?
Was that what that was?
Maybe. I don't know. I just thought maybe he was He was a little upset, I'm sure.
Well, that's a tough break for the offense, who had gained a little momentum, was moving the football. Now the Crusaders have it back. 4 minutes remaining, the third period. Straight handoff, hit hard. Boom, stop.
Oh, the ball's off, but they're going to call it. No, he's sent dead up here.
Bulldogs doing an excellent job of gang tackling.
Looks like they're going to give him about 1 on the play.
Ron Sells, one of the Bulldogs, in on the tackle. 2nd and 9. Slot left eye. Out of that formation, give to the tailback, 44. Pops to the inside, pops out. He may go. He's down the sideline, and no one's going to catch him. And there's no flags anywhere, Ron.
I don't see flags, and that's at 210 pounds.
He got a 61-yard touchdown run. He popped to the inside. That was closed down. He took it to the outside, and he outran 3 Bulldogs down the left sideline for a 61-yard touchdown score. And the Crusaders come right back and answer the Bulldogs' touchdown.
Well, I'm sure we don't get much of the press about this team, but I'm sure there's a bunch of college people looking at him. He's got, as I say, 210 pounds and some pretty good speed along that sideline on that play.
Chad Mueller is up, and if it made it, it barely did. The kick is good.
17-6 over Belleville here after that extra point.
That was a nice run by Mueller, and he outran 2 or 3 Bulldogs that had the angle on him, but he just had enough speed to stay right on tight walk the sideline and into the end zone.
Yeah, not much you can do about those. He just, like you say, just beat him to the goal line. There wasn't any, nothing fancy in the middle, and he bounced outside and foot raced him, and he won.
Thought we marked him out. How come he's playing offense here? And they moved him to tailback. They had him listed at fullback, and then they run him out of the tailback position. Again, though, from those multiple shifts in their backfield, their tailbacks and fullbacks have the same responsibility.
Well, 3:08 here left in the third quarter, so they're going to get the ball back, and let's see now if they can't get it back in the end zone here and get right back into this ball game.
Ken Shields with the kickoff. Gerald is one of the D-backs, and they kick that short one again. Pretty good. That's Taylor, number 42, to return.
Looks like he's going to have the ball at about the Bulldog 45 or 46-yard line. 45, they're going to spot it.
I failed to see much reasoning in that type of kick other than the one time the regular kickoff man did kick the ball. He didn't kick it very far.
Well, and I don't mean to say that they're taking the Bulldogs lightly, but I'm sure that they're practicing a lot of things that they may want to do later on in the season, too, against some of their hometown folks.
Pro set I, give to Gerald's off right tackle, hits forward for about 2 yards.
And they may figure they're down here far enough away that they're not going to have much of a scouting report down here, so they may be working out a few of the kinks and some trick plays too.
Yeah, you can onside kick it from that position too, and they may try that if they have the opportunity to kick again. Out of split backfield, Laughlin is back to pass. Over the middle is complete to Price. Good pickup by the Bulldog. Brian Price out of the backfield.
1st and 10 at about the 38-yard line of Belleville.
Price was wide open in the middle after he had cleared the linebackers. Laughlin got to put the ball right there, and a good pickup.
I think if the Dogs can get a little bit in, they've proven they can get open against this Belleville defense. So their pass defense is predicated on getting to the passer, looks like.
Give to Price up the middle. Good hitter from the fullback. Ball at the Belleville 30-yard line. 2nd and 8 for the Bulldogs. 1:33 remaining in the third period. Slot to this side, Self in the slot, Keith Buck split. High backfield. Laughlin back to pass, rolling to his right.
Got a man.
Hits Watson. First time I think we've called his name tonight.
And he caught 4 good ones over at Charleston the other day. So the big thing about Watson is he's just a junior, so we're going to have him back next year. So.
Well, again, you might look at the scouting. If somebody was over there and seen what he had done last week, they've been covering him pretty well. Able to shake loose on that, bringing up a 3rd and 4.
Inside of 1:50 left to go in the third quarter.
Slot left eye, give to Gerald, sweeping to the left side. Got some room to the outside. He gets a good block. Finally run out of bounds.
He's going to be awfully close. It's going to depend on the mark here.
Price out in front, providing some blocking for Gerald's.
They're going to call a 4th down.
4th and less yard, we'll call it. Ron Baker into the game for the Bulldogs. Big play coming up. Give to Gerald, sweeping left. He's going to be stopped short. And the Crusaders are going to take over. As you see them congratulating each other.
Well, George, it's about 33 seconds here left in the third quarter, and we're going to have another break at the quarter again. Our new, I don't know what you can call them. They're public service messages, I guess, instead of commercials. They're not really commercials, but we're going to have another one.
Couple of promos. As you see the score, Belleville leads the Sikeston Bulldogs 17-6. Munkin back, wants to throw deep. He hangs one up. Self knocks it away. Good pass coverage by Brian Self. Pass intended for number 85, Kevin Gagan. 14 seconds remaining in the third period.
Well, it really looks like if there's got to be some high spots, the defense has played well, but our pass defense has played real well. As we mentioned earlier, they've given up more of their, all of their touchdowns prior to the night were through the air. Looks like they've messed around and gotten across that line of scrimmage trying to shift again.
Offsides, Belleville. We see Mooney, Grant, Taylor, Price, Thornton. Pick up some of the numbers of the defenders.
Again, I think we might mention to the fans who are watching here are that in high school you just have to break the plane. You don't have to line up. Once you walk across, you're offside.
And as much shifting as they do, that's easy to break that plane. Power eye left. Give to the tailback off left tackle. He breaks through. Gets the 5 yards back plus 4 or 5 additional. As time is winding down in the third period. There's the gun ending the third period.
I love ski.
You can see the score. Belleville 17, Sikeston 6. We'll be right back.
Southeast Missouri football, 1985. Second-year head coach Bob's hungry to restore authority to the Indian football program. Join the Indians in 85. They're not going to take it anymore. No! This week, the Indians are at home against Tennessee Martin.
For over a century, faculty at Southeast Missouri State University have prepared students to meet the challenges of a changing society. Today, the tradition of excellence continues as the university experiences record enrollment. A proven academic record, variety in social and educational opportunities, and a continued commitment to low-cost tuition and housing point to an even brighter future, exciting Southeast Missouri State University.
They're back to punt, so the Dogs are going to get the ball again just inside the fourth period with a chance to add to their score. Good kick. Self's going to feel it there.
Oh, shoestring tackle there by number 14, yeah.
Quarterback down to make the tackle. Monken for the...
That is not so.
Well, the Dogs are going to take over here at about their own 26 or 27-yard line. 28-yard line, he's going to spot it.
Bulldogs come to the line of scrimmage.
Don't miss.
Pitch splits to the left. Self is in the slot. High backfield. Laughlin calling signals, gives to Gerald. Off left tackle. Wrapped up by number 33. Greg Eitner on the tackle. Mark just having a little trouble getting outside. He's when he gets the football, he's got people keen on him.
Well, like we said earlier, I think they saw what he can do last week, and I'm sure they got a bunch of folks watching him.
Laughlin back to pass. Looking for Watson in the middle, and he's snowed under.
Is he two? Is that? Yeah, number 82 for Belleville.
I'll let you say his name. Dennis
Gula.
G-U-L-A.
Well, we're probably not being broadcast in Belleville, so if we make some mistakes, maybe it'll be too important.
Big third down play for the Bulldogs. 3rd and 14. Self comes to the bottom of your screen, splits to the left, Buck to the top. Self starts in motion. Good pass and batted down by number 11. Dennis Stevens shot.
That's their sophomore quarterback. He's
So the Bulldogs will be forced to punt.
well, like right at this, George, that 64, 65-yard run or whatever it was of Mueller's a while ago has taken a little of the starch out of the Dogs. They
Price barely gets it away. It's a short kick straight up in the air and down.
Now the Dogs make a bad mistake.
So the Crusaders do take over in good field position. They're in Sikeston Bulldog territory. Ball is marked. Well, we've got the 37. 38.
Yeah, 30.
37, 38-yard line.
Got 9 minutes left here in the final quarter.
Power eye left. Give to the tailback. Off left tackle. Good speed. Breaks to the outside. Number 10. Finally hauled down from behind.
Met out there by Grant. Grant put the first hit on him and got him slowed down.
Held by Chris Mooney. Number 10 is Juan Cox. 185-pound junior.
But looks like we got him for another penalty out here, George. He's pointing at Belleville. I didn't see his call, but there's a flag and talking to Chipper Thornton out there, I think. So we're going to call this all back.
Well, they've had some major penalties tonight. Seems like when they have had a penalty, it's been a big one for the 10 or 15 yards. That's a clip.
Makes it about 12 or 13 yards.
Which was a useless penalty if it was over there where the flag on it was on the opposite side away from the play. Their coach will probably talk to that player about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Double tight, power eye left. Monken gives the tailback, and he's hit immediately. I think that's Price. 82.
Price and Dana Carter looks like was back in there. They were standing there waiting for him to get a hold of the ball.
Loss of a couple. Bulldogs need to get the football back. Just 8 minutes left in the final quarter. Monken going from a power eye right. Gives to the up back. There goes Mueller up the middle, off left side, still on his feet. Powerful run by the man.
He is just a horse. When he gets there with 145, 50-pound safeties, it's just it's not a real contest back there. He's got the speed. He's got the speed up and probably outweighing those guys by about 50.
About a 17-yard pickup, and the last 4 or 5 were with a couple of Bulldogs hanging all over him. But he is a powerful person. Give to Cox.
He's gonna get about 4 or 5 down to around the 14-yard line. I'm gonna get about 8, looks like. And then they're going to penalize him on top of that, so it's going to be first and goal at about 7.
What was the penalty?
Personal foul, looks like. Yeah. Maybe late hit or something like that. Looks like there was a dog. One of the dogs come in there a little bit late after he got on the ground. So first and goal at about the 7-yard line. So the dogs need to stiffen here.
Monken getting his players situated. Power eye right, give to the up back. That's Mueller. He's straight up the middle and into the end zone for another touchdown.
That's going to make it 23-6 here with 7:08 left in the fourth quarter.
I think we've got the Chris Mueller show.
Well, I think those of you who are out here can't realize that the size of this kid and the power that he's got. He just overwhelmed those defensive backs. Once he gets back there, we weren't doing in the first quarter. They weren't getting him to the defensive backs, but now he's.
Eitner back to kick, balls down, kicks up, and it's good.
24-6 now in favor of the Belleville Althoff Crusaders. 7:08 left in the fourth quarter, so.
I think, again, the size difference is really coming into a force now, particularly the size of Mueller and his quickness, but also the size of the offensive lineman.
Yeah, they're giving him that extra step. They're getting him past those linebackers and that offensive line. They're giving him a step in there, and he's going up against the halfbacks and safety, and that's not a real contest like we said before. If you can give him 2 steps at the end, he proved a while ago that he's pretty quick down the sideline, so you don't have all of those 40-yard stats and all of that, but he runs it pretty quick from the way he got down the sideline a while ago. So he's just a real horse, and the offensive line has begun to take their toll on Sikeston's defense too.
Let's see if the up man there once again. Oh,
nope, he's going to kick him a little
straight down the middle. Chris Taylor. Up the middle into the outside and quickly covered up by 51 and 21 for the Crusaders. I look down, a few people heading for the house here, maybe an attempt to beat some traffic or what, but we're beginning to lose some of our fans.
Well, of course, it's 24-6, as we said, 7 minutes here in the fourth quarter, and I don't think anybody's ashamed of getting beat 24-6 by this team, but it would appear at this point that
Laughlin back to pass, Greg Grant, and Laughlin in trouble. Did a good job, almost got away, but was sacked.
He's going to be losing about 4 or 5 yards here.
6 Crusaders in, putting some pressure on the quarterback, Jim Laughlin, which they know that the Bulldogs are going to have to pass, and they're coming with some linebackers blitzing and a heavy rush.
Well, and as I said a while ago, it appears to me that their pass defense predicated on getting to the passer, because when we've had time, we've had guys open.
Laughlin back to pass. It's great. Trying to hit Gerald's out in the flat.
They're going to call that a lateral. I believe they are. Yep.
You'll have to explain that one. A pass thrown behind the line of scrimmage in the direction of Mark Gerald's was through his hands. Since he was not in front of the line of scrimmage, it was a lateral. And a Crusader picked it up and ran the football in for another score.
So now that makes it 30-6, and we're quickly losing the folks now. Well, and Gerald's pulled up. I don't know. He come up hobbling when he.
I think he knew that was a fumble, or that could be recovered, and he was trying to get back to it and just was not able to. Eitner once again back to kick the extra point. Ball's down. Kick is going to be short.
Off to the right. No good.
No good.
So we've got 5:55 left here in the fourth quarter. The score is 30 for Belleville. Alta, 6 for the Dogs, and just a miscalculation, I guess you might call that one. I don't know whether that was intended to be a lateral or what, but for whatever reason, you can't.
I think that play was designed to do that, to get the ball out there to him quick and try to get him in the open. He is a good runner. And to get the ball to him where he could try to maneuver out there, but the ball was thrown a little bit behind him.
Well, and whether or not I meant whether or not it meant to be a lateral or not, I think maybe they meant more of a little flats and really have it be a forward pass, so that if it is incomplete, you don't give the ball up.
And just what happened.
Yeah, to get it behind him, and it was behind. Not only was it behind him, it was behind the quarterback.
Belleville once again kicking off to the Bulldogs. Short kick, onside tight, hits the Bulldog, but recovered. Joe Fetch onto the football for the Bulldogs, who take over. Pretty good field position.
I'd have to say one thing about Belleville's kicking game. It's diversified. They have kicked on their kickoffs. I think we've seen almost everything that you can have.
It's not a long kicking game anyway.
No, they haven't really booted the ball, solidly.
Laughlin back to pass, throws out in the flats, intended for Brian Self. Ball overthrown, incomplete. Four receivers for the Bulldogs out on pass patterns. Self, Wasson, Fetch, and Price.
Well, and I think we can expect the Bulldogs to throw the ball. And I'm sure Belleville's expecting to throw the ball, and they're creeping everybody up. And
flag on the play. Laughlin wanting to throw.
He's got Wasson again.
Down over the middle.
He's got a 1st and 10 if that penalty is not on Sikeston.
Watson's got good hands. Anything close to him, he'll come up with it. And he runs well with the football once he does make the pass.
Yeah, he's able to take that ball and figure out which way is the right direction to get going in, and he doesn't waste much time. He takes the ball and heads right straight for the other team's goal line.
He would have had a little more yardage then as he turned back around. One of the Crusaders had fallen at his feet, and he stumbled over the fella. That play is against Belleville, that penalty. Ball is at the Belleville 37. 5:23 remaining in the fourth quarter. Belleville leading 30-6. Penalty is declined by the Bulldogs, who will set up 1st and 10 at the Altoff 37-yard line. Gerald's and Price, Taylor and Price in the backfield for the Bulldogs. Self, split receiver. Across the middle, hits Fetch.
I believe he's got another 1st and 10.
A little quick look-in pass from the wide receiver to the outside. Breaks back in across the
first
middle.
and 10 down at about the 25-yard line of the Cruisers.
David Freeman into the game for the Bulldogs. Self comes to the bottom of the screen, splits to the right. High backfield. Laughlin back, fakes it, he wants to pass. Throws, overthrows.
All right, we're going to get a pass interference this time, looks like. I think you have to play the ball, isn't that? You can't play the man regardless.
Pass was intended for Freeman.
The Belleville defender just ran right through Fetch that time, and
we've had some second unit defense in there. Now the Crusaders have changed and have sent the first team defense back in. I thought some new numbers on the Belleville side of the line, but we've got the first team boys back in there now. That's a Bulldog set up.
First and 10 at about the 13.
14-yard line. 4:40 remaining.
We're playing for a little pride now. The Dogs need to score, and Belleville needs to keep them out, so they're going to put the number 1 boys back down.
Laughlin looking, hangs one up. Incomplete. I think the Crusader maybe had reception on that for a moment. Pass intended for Buck.
Buck's another junior, so the Dogs may be in pretty good shape if we can get by this year. They've got a looks like a bunch of good junior prospects out here playing.
Laughlin back to pass.
Oh,
in trouble and thrown for a big loss. Number 82 from the Crusaders in quickly on the tackle, Dennis Gula. I think that's what we decided how to say his name.
It's going to be all the way back to the 21-yard line. Loss of about 8 or...
Bringing up a 3rd and 18. Self comes wide to the right. Price and Taylor in the backfield split. Laughlin drops straight back. Wants to throw the middle screen. He's got Price. The middle.
Price is going to come up a little bit short.
One thing about this vantage point, you can see those screens develop pretty quickly from being up high. Fourth and 5 Bulldogs, 3:30 remaining. Belleville leading 30-6.
Got a timeout on the field. I don't know whether it's an official timeout or... Nope. The Dogs have called timeout. Well, as I said a while ago, I think this now has become a little bit of a pride thing here now. The Dogs sure do need to push this one on in here on 4th and about 5. They need to either get the 1st and 10 or get one in the end zone. And on the other side of it, of course, Belleville would like to stop them right down here.
I'd like to see him try to hit number 80 out in the flat somewhere and let him roll with the football a little bit. Darrell Watson, who does a good job of catching the ball. Well, I guess we ought to mention, too, Ron, this is our 3rd consecutive broadcast, telecast type of a thing. Bulldogs are going to go on the road for the next 2 weeks. They go to Poplar Bluff next week and to Dex following week. So it's going to be 3 weeks or so before we're back here when Paducah Tillman comes over. Now, that'll be an exciting game.
Yeah, and I think we ought to encourage everybody to get out here and see the Dogs. You know, I know we haven't had many good things to say about tonight, but this is an improving team, and I think we can see the improvements from week to week. And they just run into a minute tonight. This is tremendous team that they've played out here, Belleville.
Well,
0-3 or not, you know.
We said at the beginning that they were young and relatively inexperienced, and they're getting some valuable experience. Not all victories, but experience is experience. Laughlin is back now. Throws one down the middle,
tipped, and we're going to get it. We're going to get us a call in the end zone, so it's going to be 1st and goal at the 1.
Ball was intended for number 80.
Coach Vickery is maybe on the other end of this. Maybe he's watching the TV over there on the bench and taking your advice.
No, he's just a good receiver. That was well covered. He had a couple of defenders around him, and they bumped him as he made contact with him.
Well, I think Belleville's mistake in both of these pass interference calls has been that they have been they've had one man playing them, and then the other guy is the guy that's causing the making the pass interference, getting the pass interference call. Belleville, as just pointed out on the screen, got another man down here on the bench. Heard I didn't get his number.
1st and goal at the 4. Laughlin gives to Taylor right up the middle. It's Price, number 32. Clock moving, 3 minutes remaining, 4th period.
Looks like he's going to be at about the 1 or 2 yard line, but the 2, I guess, is where they're going to end up spotting the ball.
Out of the I backfield, 32 is the fullback. Price, 42, Taylor, the tailback. From back, fakes to Taylor. Throwing on the run, he's got Watson open. There's your touchdown.
And that junior sure is happy. That's his first touchdown of his varsity career.
Well, both Bulldog scores have come by the pass. Hit Fetch in the first half, and now he has hit Watson in the second half.
Well, again, I think that, we sure don't want the fans to think that we've downplayed the Dogs in it tonight. They have not had a lot of statistics, but this has been, a tremendous team, and they have done some good things.
Bulldogs going for 2. Laughlin once again back to pass, throw all across the middle. Could have been thrown a flag on that, perhaps.
Awful close, but I guess the new, I don't know whether it applies to the high school or not, but these new pass interference rules, if you're looking at and playing the ball, they're not nearly as likely to throw that flag.
2:44 remaining in the 4th period. Belleville 30, Sikeston 12. Once again, the Bulldogs go on the road for the next 2 weeks. Next week at Bluff, the following week at Dexter. And then they come back home to the Paducah Tillman. I guess next week will be our opening conference game.
Well, and we sure do need a bunch of our fans over there because this will be an important game for the Bulldogs against Bluff. I think this, as I say, this is the first conference game, and reputed to have a good team this year.
Started out a little shaky. They went to Dexter, and Dexter upset them. I don't remember what Poplar Bluff did last week. I think maybe they're 0-2 at this point, but.
Now, they play a pretty tough schedule again, as Belleville does, and of course the Dexter Bluff game is like the Sikeston-Charleston game. That's a heads-up deal. You just get a good kickoff here from. Oh, and he fumbled the ball.
That's Mueller. And
they've got him hemmed up.
Some of the
they got a flag on the play too, so he may be going to start deeper than.
Mooney Thornton in on the tackle.
It's going to be one of those illegal blocks, holding on Belleville, so they're going to back them up a little further here.
Well, Chris Mueller did something wrong for once. He fumbled that kickoff.
They're bringing in their sophomore quarterback here, number 11, coming into the game is Schott. Stephen Schott looks like he's going to call the signals here on one of these last series, the downs for the Cruisers.
And they've got some of their reserves in. I see some clean jerseys down there, some that haven't played the whole game.
But they haven't taken out Mueller.
No. Maybe the starting backfield in there with the new quarterback.
Give the ball to Mueller, and he's out here again.
He got most of the penalty yardage back on that carry. Going to bring up second.
About 2 yards.
Clock running, 1:55 remaining in the fourth period. The Bulldogs have some reserves in on defense, too. Try to catch some of these numbers as we go. I believe there was a fumble. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. We're going to little fracas here. Officials quickly in the middle of all of that, though. They got the flags on the ground, though. We're going to find out. I don't know. Well, they're going to...
That's the quickest way to settle one of those things. To just eject both players. Number 88 for the Bulldogs, I think, was involved in it.
That's Ryan, if he is involved, and